Welcome to another episode of the Community Broadband Bits podcast. We've got something special this week. Two of our favorite episodes that happen to fit together nicely. The first comes from ILSR's Building Local Power podcast and an interview with two local leaders from East Carroll Parish, Louisiana, and the experience they've had with increasingly expensive but also poor broadband service over the last several years. We hear how their efforts to try and improve internet access by organizing a local effort was almost stymied by that same regional monopoly provider, which doubled down and tried to use junk data to prevent competition. The second half of the episode comes from a Community Broadband Bits podcast way back in 2014, when Christopher and Lisa asked the question, can you satirize the terrible customer service of the big cable companies? Or is reality so bad that even when we try to poke fun at it with hyperbole, it ends up sounding a little too close to home? We'll let you be the judge. Enjoy the show.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Building Local Power. I'm your co-host Reggie Rucker, and on today's show we have the privilege of hearing from two guests who stared down monopoly giants that basically gave them the middle finger when all they asked was for reliable, affordable internet service to connect to and take care of their community. And in keeping with this season's theme, How to Get Away with Merger, we look at how this need to even ask monopoly giants for connectivity to community and health and opportunity is only necessary because of the concentration allowed through large mergers and acquisitions. Today we look at Cable One, which now goes by Sparklight, and how a series of acquisitions in recent years helped to make them a dominant player in the southern region, with the power to pick and choose who they provide service to, and how this requires communities to make heroic efforts just to get what so many are able to take for granted. To tell more of this story, I'm going to pass it over to my co-host, who has not once given me the middle finger, at least not to my face, and that's Luke Gannon. What's up, Luke?
Reggie, I would never give you the middle finger. So before we jump into hearing from our guests today, I'm going to provide some background on Sparklight and its history. Sparklight, as Reggie mentioned, is a part of Cable One's family of brands, and it's a broadband communications provider that serves more than 1 million residential and business customers in 24 states. So a few years ago, Cable One changed its name to Sparklight to transition to a broadband-first strategy because they saw that so many people were turning to digital video content on their mobile devices or to social media. So as a part of this rebranding strategy and shifting their focus on broadband, they are now trying to acquire and grow.
So Luke, what did you notice as you looked at the pattern of these acquisitions?
To me, it seems like Sparklight has been conducting a series of smaller acquisitions over the last few years, slowly growing its footprint across the United States. In 2019, Sparklight acquired Fidelity Communications, which expanded its footprint by 190,000 homes across primarily southern and midwestern states. Then, in 2020, Sparklight bought a 45% stake in Mega Broadband Investments Holdings, which is a private equity firm, for $574 million. And then, in 2021, Sparklight announced that it would be acquiring equity interests in Hargray Communications, which is a telecommunications provider.
So, Luke, explain the equity interest. What does that look like in this case?
So, Sparklight will represent 85% of Hargray. Its stake in Hargray will expand their footprint in the southeastern U.S. So really, just over the last few years, we've seen Sparklight inching its way across the United States, becoming larger and larger, and as I've read, oftentimes providing poor and expensive service.
So Luke, what is Sparklight, Cable One? What are they saying as they buy up all of these telecommunications, broadband companies? What are they sort of professing is going to be the sort of the positive outcome of these acquisitions?
In most of the articles I've read about these acquisitions, Sparklight has said that by acquiring X company, it will create a, quote, superior experience for customers and increase value for shareholders. But unfortunately, as the East Carroll Parish story that you'll hear next so clearly illustrates the customer experience is really bad. And that's why all this organizing happened, to build something that actually worked for the community in East Carroll Parish, and that was led by the community, not some outside massive corporation coming in and deciding who to serve and then leaving out a huge part of the population. So in East Carroll Parish, Sparklight and AT&T were really the only two providers in town. And in many places across the country, Sparklight has a monopoly in rural towns where they are price gouging their customers, which basically means that because there is no one else to compete with, they increase their rates. And then, on top of that, due to this lack of competition, they can also provide terrible service because there is really no incentive to do better.
Such a great intro, Luke. Thank you so much for that. Okay, so tell us what's coming up next on the show.
So, on the show today, Wanda Manning and Laura Arvin are going to detail their story working with Delta Interfaith and organizing a task force around building their own fiber-to-the-home network where everyone in East Carroll Parish could have access to affordable, fast broadband. Without further ado, we are going to start from the beginning of Wanda's story.
Well, I grew up here in Lake Providence. Lake Providence is a small agricultural town. It's like the lake we were named after it is like an oxbow. And the town is a beautiful little quaint town in northeast Louisiana, right at the tip top of the boot in the northeast corner, far northeast corner. Well, it's always been a beautiful town to me. And yes, we have our own issues here in East Carroll Parish, like any other town. East Carroll Parish is the parish, and I live in Lake Providence, and that's our town. So I grew up in a large family, nine of us, 5 sisters and 3 brothers. And there was always something going on in the house. We lived next door to my grandmother. We call her Mama Lena. And for many years, my family pushed education. And as my grandmother taught us that old adage, if you give a man a fish, you can feed him for one day. But if you teach him how to fish, you can feed him for a lifetime. It was always work. And, I chopped cotton, we're in the South, as a child coming up. So with education being pushed all the time, I knew I didn't want to chop cotton all my life, right? So it was hot. It was really hot, but it served its purpose, and there was a lot of life lessons in it. But although I grew up in a large family, I spent a lot of time reading books. I spent a lot of time by myself. I was always up to something, creating stuff. I wanted to be a fashion designer. I made my own fashion paper dolls. I love watching my family and my friends get together to have fun. And my father loves sports, so we played lots of touch football, what they call it setback. And to this very day, I could throw a football better than most guys. But my daddy didn't allow the girls to be tackled, and the boys were just furious. And although I'm a little rusty, I could still throw that football. So, well, with everything said about my family and stuff, and education was the main thing pushed, I became a teacher. And I taught for 32 plus years. And my parents were always assisting in the community in one form or fashion. So one of the stories I call from my childhood is what my father did. One night, a family came to our house, and it was a knock on the door, and we heard the commotion. We all seated, getting ready for supper. And all of a sudden, my dad came in at the table. He took half of my food off my plate, half of my sisters' and them food off of their plates, and we were just sitting around looking like, you know. So it was years down the road that I figured out that it was a family outside of that door. They didn't ask for money, they asked for food. So my father made a way to give them food. So I learned in life that, whatever you have to share, you share. Because in my spiritual upbringing, in my church upbringing, is that, you were created to be, if you are blessed, you are created to be a blessing. So sharing was a part of what we did. My mom took for funerals throughout the town of Lake Providence and all around Lake Providence, always serving somebody. So many funerals that she served at and cooked for, I can't put a number to it, not to this day. So we were always sent to somebody's house, some elderly person's house, clean up or run errands. And I didn't realize just how much of my childhood was spent in the community.
Today, Wanda remains actively engaged in the community. After dedicating 32 years to teaching in East Carroll Parish, in 2020, Wanda, like the rest of the world, experienced a profound wake-up call.
2020 forced me out the classroom with underlying conditions behind COVID, right? The pandemic just ripped the advantage off of everything. So I was in the classroom teaching, and one of my former students, I thought the kid was just playing in and out of his class, his virtual class. And I was infuriated. And so I did not know at that time dial-up was still a thing. It was so frustrating to have a child not stay in that virtual class. So during that particular time, when I came out in November of 2020, I went out and I got a chance to talk to Nathan and his mother, Tabitha. So I found out in our conversation, this kid was on dial-up in a virtual class. Dial-up can't sustain a phone call less long, a virtual class. So I told Nathan, I said, baby, I apologize for fussing at you because I didn't know you had such poor connection. So I said, if I don't do anything, I'm going to make sure you get some good internet out here. And that's how my journey got started, with a former student and just dirt poor connection.
As a teacher, when COVID struck, Wanda quickly recognized the significant lack of internet access that many of her students faced. In 2020, she became actively involved in Delta Interfaith, a broad-based coalition of congregations and organizations dedicated to addressing problems large and small. It was there that she crossed paths with Laura Arvin. Here's Laura.
I got involved in Delta Interfaith because I wanted to get more involved in the community. I grew up here myself and moved back to help take care of my mother. And when she passed, I was looking for some way to get involved into the community. And so it was because I was able to meet people from all walks of life.
Laura became a member of Delta Interfaith when the pandemic struck. Soon after, she, along with a group of volunteers, formed a task force dedicated to organizing initiatives aimed at bridging the digital divide.
The task force met with AT&T, who is the old guard incumbent here, pretending to offer internet. AT&T and Sparklight were the two entities in town that offered internet. We had those choices. And if you looked at what was needed from the pandemic, the AT&T service was not viable. So basically we had one choice if you wanted to do online school, and that's Sparklight, which is expensive and therefore not affordable for a lot of people.
As children transitioned from in-person to remote schooling, Laura and Wanda recognized that the available options for internet providers were inadequate. They embarked on a lengthy journey of research, meetings with representatives, securing funding, and forming alliances with electric cooperatives. Their goal was to build a compelling case for ensuring that every individual in East Carroll Parish had access to reliable internet connectivity.
We met with AT&T representatives, we met with Sparklight representatives online, we met with all kinds of local industries, how were they working to get their internet. We worked with the school system, finding all these things. The task force ended up fighting off this company that came in and wanted to build, a magic entity, they were going to solve all our broadband problems to the tune of $50 million in bonds that they were going to sell that, if the network failed, the town would have been on the hook for the town and the parish. So by that time we had researched and we were beginning to get our organizing chops, so to speak. So we were able to fend them off, and we identified a partner in who had won the RDOF money for our parish, who was also building networks for the electric co-op next door to us, and also has some customers in East Carroll. So Delta Interfaith Broadband Committee worked with them to help them gather information to submit a gumbo grant application. And we worked hard. We helped them gather the information, and after a lot of waiting, the grant was awarded. And so we celebrated. But there was a protest process in place that we were aware of. But at the 11th hour, literally, Sparklight comes in and says, nope, we serve those people already, or we serve the majority of them. So you can't give money to serve those people. And the grant, the gumbo grant, is the granting unserved municipalities broadband opportunities. So they might have technically had AT&T, but there were some standards there that they had to reach, and so AT&T couldn't. So basically they were unserved. But with Sparklight's protest, it pretty much put a halt in things. And at that point, Delta Interfaith pivoted. We started going out and doing press conferences. We traveled to Baton Rouge and spoke in front of the Office of Administration that ran the broadband grant program. We did media interviews. We chatted with Chris Mitchell on the ILSR Community Broadband Bits, and did a lot of print interviews and reached out to public officials. And then we also met with Sparklight directly. We went over to Monroe to their regional office and met on Zoom. And by the way, they had internet problems hooking into their Arizona and Florida offices, where these bigwigs were. That we were sitting with the regional manager, who we had spoken with way back in 2020. That was who we talked with, saying, "Can you extend your network further out into the parish?" And at that time, they said, "No, it's not a good return on investment for us. We can't do this." And AT&T had told us, "Be happy with what you have." So when we met them a second time, we had a little bit of a fire in our bellies.
The flames of that fire were fanned out one day when a Sparklight general manager, Charlie Oakes, made Wanda an offer he hoped she wouldn't refuse.
So Charlie Oakes called me and said, "Well, Wanda, I'm going to do this and that for you on your bill so it could come down and you have great service and all of this cool stuff." I said, "Oh, really?" He said, "That's awesome." I said, "But are you going to do that for everybody else too? You don't just do it for one person. There's a whole community of people that coming up short with poor services, and we pay big money for Sparklight for their services and get poor freaking services."
But because Wanda wouldn't be bought and kept advocating for all of her community alongside Laura and the rest of Delta Interfaith. Today, residents of East Carroll Parish are celebrating Louisiana's Office of Broadband Development and Connectivity's decision to uphold a $4 million gumbo grant to bring fiber to the home internet service to over 2,500 households in one of the most poorly connected parts of the state. Community building is power building.
My standpoint is that as a community-based organization built with community churches and people that are interested in the betterment of our town, we want to change. We done had 2 great assemblies to gather people up to create power. Because as a young person during the early 70s, late 80s, trying to organize some stuff in school, power can be one person, but you struggle so hard with it. But when you got organized people with the same mindset and growing a thing or a situation, you get great strategies and great ideas. And that's what has happened in Delta Interfaith. We strive for the betterment of our town. We want our children to have better. And the only way that we can have better for them is that, we lay the foundation.
And it is about those relationships, reaching across all of these possible, probable divides, real issues that have been struggled with, to learn together about how to do things. I mean, we're learning as a group all the time.
This fight is pertinent to me. As an educator, with technology is an ongoing entity, we need to stay abreast. To stay abreast, it needs to be affordable, reliable, and sustainable. There's no connection to other entities outside of East Carroll Parish if we can't sustain a connection. This fight is so important because I know that there are homes that do remote jobs. Telehealth is very crucial in East Carroll Parish because even I myself have to drive 72 plus miles for a doctor appointment. That should not ought to be. So some of the things that we can, carve out using the internet, it takes the strain off our pockets, off our time, and, put things back in the order that it's supposed to be, especially concerning our children. Everybody don't have the necessary means to travel to be educated at ULM, Grambling, Southern, or any other university. So with good sustainable internet, it meets the need. And we have to have this fight and this discussion about not being left behind.
It's that time of the episode for Wanda and Laura to share their book recommendations. Here's Laura's.
One of my most favorite poets is Wendell Berry. There's a poem called Manifesto of the Mad Farmer. And every now and then when I get frustrated, I go back and read that poem, and it's just awesome.
The captured economy, how the powerful enrich themselves and slow down growth and increase inequality by Brink, Lindsay, and Steve Tellis. Interested read. Very interested. You learn some stuff about the economy and big companies, how they just study, do the wrong thing. And that scripture or part of the scripture said, the rich keep getting richer and the poor keep getting poorer. And that comes to mind. And one of them is a hard read. You can't be faint of heart with Charles Dickens, right? The Tale of Two Cities is what I relate to. And even coming up, the first line, it was the best of times and it was the worst of times. And I've always equated that with East Carroll Parish, because of the struggles and the parallelisms between the two situations that was battling out in the book.
Well, thank you so much, Wanda and Laura, for joining us on the show today. You all have accomplished an amazing feat in East Carroll Parish and really shown the world what is possible for bridging the digital divide. Now, passing it over to the incredible Reggie Rucker to close us out.
Thank you, Luke. Again, what a great job on this episode. And again, Laura and Wanda, thank you for telling such an inspiring and empowering story. It truly is moving to hear about all the great work that you're doing down in East Carroll Parish. And for all of you listening, thanks for sticking with us until the end. I assume that means you like this episode, so please share with even just one person you think will enjoy it too. We have a goal of 10,000 listens for this episode, so help us get there. And if you're not a subscriber to the podcast yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you know when every new episode drops. And of course, your donations are essential to help us keep this podcast going and support the research and resources that we make available on our website for free. We truly welcome and appreciate it all. And last, if you have feedback for us or want to share a story about how your community approaches this issue, send us an email to buildinglocalpower@ilsr.org. We'd love to share these on a special mailbag episode one day. We'll definitely keep an eye out. This show is produced by Luke Gannon and me, Reggie Rucker. This podcast is edited by Luke Gannon and Andrew Frank. The music for the season is also composed by Andrew Frank. Thank you so much for listening to Building Local Power.
Oh, we're recording. What do you know?
Yes, we are recording.
So we have
A special treat for everybody today.
right, and we just wanted to introduce it quickly and awkwardly. So basically today, because it's one of those days when some people are working, but a lot of people are already starting to think about the holidays and taking some time off, we wanted to just do something a little bit lighter and more fun.
So what we did is we created a couple of scenarios. One has a customer calling to ask about service to a cable company.
Right, and that customer sounds a lot like you.
Oh, I guess she does, doesn't she? Actually, you'll notice this sound. And every time you hear that sound, there will be something said in the conversation that is from an actual conversation with a sales representative
From one of the cable or telephone companies.
From one of the companies.
We've had a fair amount of these conversations, and sometimes they're a little bit nuts. So what we did was we decided that we would have a short conversation, and we scripted it based on real events and then a little bit of hyperbole.
Yeah, we went a little past that, but we did use actual language, yep.
We did, but I think you'll find that if you look at the range of calls, I mean, if you just do a search for Comcast, like conversations that people have reported, the things that we sort of exaggerated have been gone far beyond by the cable companies and some of their poor support.
I would also be willing to bet, Chris, that people listening to this podcast right now have had similar conversations.
Right. So the first one is a person that calls in and asks for help.
Right.
And wants to set up a new account.
Right.
And the second one is a person that is calling in for help. And this was based on a true story that a friend of mine experienced when he had a service interruption at his house, and he got a call center in the Philippines. And it was just incredibly crazy, the fact that he had to go through this rigmarole to get his connection repaired. And so in that connection, that's our second conversation.
And we've actually probably scaled that down from what he actually had to
I think it was probably a bit worse for what he had to go through.
So enjoy the conversations and...
That's right. And in 1 week, we're going to put up a show with some year in review type stuff and some predictions. And then we'll be back in early January on the regular schedule with a show back on our normal schedule of things, not any of this sort of fluff and fun stuff. We'll get that out of our system and go back to the normal shows. So thank you, everyone.
Thanks. Have a great holiday.
Congratulations. You have reached National Consolidated Cable. We pride ourselves on our customer service. Your call may be recorded for use on your permanent record. Please enter your account number, then press pound. If you want to set up a new account, please say Sales. If you have a technical support question, please say Technical Support. If you want to disconnect your service, please hang up and call back in a few months.
Sales.
Thank you. I will put you right through. As a courtesy, please do not lose your temper with our agents. We pay them the bare minimum and treat them quite poorly already. Have you tried our website? It won't answer your questions, but the wait is shorter.
Thank you for calling Cable Co today, where we have some amazing deals. My name's Troy, and what's your name?
Hi, Troy. My name is Stella.
Hi, Stella. Did I mention that we have some amazing deals today?
Yes, you did. Thanks.
We are the home of the best triple play offer.
That's good to know. Thanks, Troy.
Stella, we now have a package of television. When you hook up one television with HD and DVR service, well, that's typically $93.99 a month. But I can get it locked in today at only $54.99 a month for 12 months.
But I don't want to
I can even waive the $300 installation and activation fee for you and give you 3 free months of Starz, HBO, Showtime, and Cinemax.
But I
and
don't
you might
want
even qualify to get an upgrade to the whole home HD DVR. This thing is great with over 800 hours of recording space, picture-in-picture, the ability to record 5 shows at once, and it recommends shows to watch based on what you watch, Stella.
No, I don't think that
Stella,
I want
if
that.
you'd like to just give me your credit card number, I can sign you up for that deal today before it expires.
Well, I'm not really sure that I want that.
Tick-tock, Stella. Tick-tock.
I'm not really much of a TV watcher. I'm primarily interested in just signing up for internet access.
Standalone internet access, Stella? No bundle at all?
Yes.
Stella, I'm just going to give you some advice to help you out. The best way to go is with bundled services because you save on all of the services.
Thanks for the advice, Troy, but I just want standalone internet access today.
No, you don't want that.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't, Stella.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't, Stella.
Yes, I do. Look, I think I know what I want.
Stella, you have to understand, I'm a professional, and I understand what you need and what's going to help you out the best.
Just give me pricing for standalone internet access, please, Troy.
All right, let me take a look and see what we have. All right, why don't you just give me your address, and we'll take a look at what deals are available.
24 Sycamore in Springfield.
As I look at our system, I see that you're in luck. We have some incredible, fantastic, one-time only introductory prices available for you today, Stella. We can get you a basic package at $19.99 a month for 12 months, or standard at $49.99 a month for 12 months. Turbo is going to roll in at $69.99 a month for 12 months, but you can also go up to Extreme Turbo at $89.99 a month for 12 months, or if you're really, really looking for the fastest speeds, Ultimate Extreme Turbo at $115.99 a month for 12 months.
And what are the prices after the introductory rates?
Well, the price will be the same for all 12 months. Because our promotions change frequently, I would not be able to give you prices after the promotion. And what we suggest you do, Stella, is to contact us around your 10th or 11th month to see if we can roll you into another offer or promotional price at that time. This will ensure you're always getting the very best price for your services, Stella.
Well, what are other people paying for those speeds after the introductory rates are done?
It depends on the area. I can't give you an amount, not even an approximate amount. That's why we tell the customers to call us so that we can enroll them in new promotions.
Well, I can't really plan or commit to Cable Co. if I don't know what my rate will be.
I'm sorry, Stella. I can't give you accurate information, and I don't want to tell you an amount because it's going to be a lie. I prefer to be honest with you, Stella, and tell you that it's better to call us before your promotion expires. Anyway, there's no contract over here. You can cancel with no cancellation fees if you don't like the price afterwards. But I'll tell you what, Stella. You give me your credit card number and I can sign you up for our ultimate service.
I'm not so sure.
Tick-tock, Stella.
I don't like the fact that you won't tell me what I'll be paying after the first 12 months. What am I supposed to do if the price doubles or triples?
You can always cancel and obtain services elsewhere, Stella. You're not bound by a contract when the introductory period's over. And after all, this is a very competitive industry.
You're the only cable provider in town.
Well, there's always DSL. You could do satellite or dial-up.
I don't like your attitude, Troy.
No, don't hang up. You don't know what it's like here. I have to make 2 more sales before I get a bathroom break. please, lady. I drank 3 cups of coffee this morning.
All right. Sign me up for the middle tier.
Great. You're not going to regret this. I'll get you a great deal. The Turbo Internet at $69.99 a month. Though I do have to say that if you added a few video channels to that package, I can lower the price to $64.99 a month.
That doesn't even make sense. Why would I pay less if I agreed to add channels?
Well, Stella, that's how Comcast does it, so we do it that way too.
Why is it that my friend over in Shelbyville pays even less for that same package?
Our prices are based on a variety of factors, Stella.
Doesn't Shelbyville have a municipal network? Over there, I'd at least have some choice.
Well, the decisions about the rates are made above my pay grade, but let's get you signed up for that Turbo connection. Can you tell me what your address is again?
24 Sycamore Street in Springfield.
All right, just give me a second to look that up in our system so I can enroll you in the product. Oh, man. God bless America. Stella?
Yes.
It seems like our system, there's just something that's a little off. I originally checked your address in a different system. That's the one that we use to tell the state where we offer services. And when I looked to place this order, I found that we don't actually serve your house yet.
Huh?
But we could set you up if you just wanted to pay a one-time fee, and then we'd build the network out to you.
I wish I lived in Shelbyville. I'd rather put my money in a community network.
Look, I can't just make this offer to anyone, but because you're really quite close to our network already, we'd only charge you $7,500 to expand the network to you. This is really quite a deal. Stella? Stella? Stella! Hey, Fred, pass me that Coke bottle, will you?
Congratulations! You have reached National Consolidated Cable. We pride ourselves on our customer service. Your call may be recorded for use on your permanent record. Please enter your account number, then press pound.
They never use this anyway. I don't even know why they ask.
If you want to set up a new account, please say sales. If you have a technical support question, please say technical support. If you want to
Technical support.
Hello, this is Abed. How can I help you while also trying to sell you more services?
We had a bad storm an hour ago. My neighbor's tree blew down in my yard. It fell on my cable wire and it ripped it off my house.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. What can I do for you?
Well, I'd like you to send someone out to reattach it.
All right, let me see what my system says. Can you tell me your account number?
Didn't I already give that to you at the beginning of the call?
I'm sure you did, ma'am, but we only have you put that in as part of a strict policy of delaying you at least 10 minutes on the phone prior to you speaking to a human.
Okay. My account number is 1234 6544 1337.
All right, that's coming up. And to verify your identity, I need you to tell me what sites you were visiting last night.
What?
We closely monitor your surfing to build a profile for advertising, and I see that you were quite active last night. So I want to verify your identity, make sure you are who you say you are, and I just need you to tell me one of the sites you visited last night at about 1 a.m.
I'm not going to do that.
Okay, well, alternatively, you can lean out your south-facing dining room and hold 3 fingers up in the air.
What will that prove?
I'm not really at liberty to discuss our partnership with the NSA.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Ah, there, I see you on the monitor. It's a lovely turtleneck you're wearing. While I'm bringing up your account, would you mind verifying that your cable modem is plugged in?
Plugged into what? Your wire runs from a pole outside my house into a bush as of 60 minutes ago.
Well, okay, I understand, but I have to use this checklist, so please verify that your cable modem is turned on.
This is absurd. Nothing will work until the cable's attached to my house.
Have you verified that it's turned on now?
Yeah, sure, it is on.
Okay, please turn it off, and then turn it back on.
Seriously?
Oh, I'm in our system now, and I see you're not taking advantage of our bundle deals. I'd be happy to fix that for you.
Can you just send a tech my way to reattach the wire?
I understand what you're asking, but I do have to follow my checklist. Now, about those bundles, We have some really good deals to bundle your service. You can add video. It'll only cost you an extra.
Look, I want the same service I had yesterday. I just want it to work.
Okay, I'll schedule a time for one of our technicians to visit you.
When?
Well, because this is a priority, I think I can get you in next Wednesday.
6 days from now? This is an emergency.
Well, many people have to wait a lot longer for a technician. Can I schedule a time for you between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. that day?
I just can't believe you get away with this. The electric company is coming out in a few hours. You want to take a week?
Yes, well, the electric company is regulated, and you wouldn't want that for the cable industry, would you? We wouldn't be nearly as innovative if we had to fix things so quickly. Now, can I set you up with that 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. slot?
Yes.
Excellent. Just to be safe, I would probably be ready for our tech to arrive anytime between 5 a.m. and 10 p.m. We aim for the 4-hour window, but achieve it a vanishingly small percent of the time. Is there anything else I can do for you?
Anything else? You haven't done anything but waste an hour of my day and refuse to give me timely service.
Well, I'm sorry you feel that way, but let's talk one more time about how much you could save with a bundle.
Thank you again for listening to the Community Broadband Bits podcast. We hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we enjoyed producing it for you. Don't forget to send us your ideas for the show. Email us at podcast@muninetworks.org. Follow us on Twitter. Our handle is @CommunityNets. Thanks again to Dickie F. for his song Florida Mama, licensed through Creative Commons.